Howdy, Ken. Episode 51, after the big time episode 50. If you did not see episode 50, the one with J.K. Dowdle, it is a must listen episode on the podcast, must watch episode on the YouTube channel. Check it out. Today, episode 51. Ken, I got a question for you. Do you ever spy on your competition?
Every single day. That's why we're friends. Just kidding. Yeah. Every single day. I mean, that's how I learn. That's how I uncover new angles, new ideas, and discover what everyone else is doing. So I can either model it or obviously improve upon what they're doing, try and stay one step ahead of everyone else. So yeah, absolutely. How about you?
So the idea, the concept here is to understand what you can learn, or probably better put, what you should be learning from your competition. Specifically, talking about affiliate marketing, look at what other people that are promoting the products and services or whatever that you're promoting. Yeah. So case in point, not affiliate marketing, but if I step outside my office here on Main Street, there is a Burger King and a McDonald's side by side. You don't think that they're not looking at what each other's doing? Of course, it's bigger, higher level, right? Each franchise is independent to an extent, but McDonald's and Burger King are in direct competition with each other.
Yeah.
So they're always looking at what's going on. So in the world of affiliate marketing, and the truth about making money online, period, is first and foremost, if there's no competition, then you're in the wrong niche, right?
Yeah.
That makes no sense unless you're literally inventing the wheel for the first time and you're selling something that is groundbreaking, earth-shattering, taking us to space, cloning people, whatever. You're going to have competition, so you got to be looking at it.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on that one. I mean, it's just like the gas stations, right? They're usually gas stations that are across the street from each other, and for them, it's all about pricing, right? Pricing, or maybe you're giving away a hot dog with a full tank of gas or whatever it is. Those shriveled up hot dogs that they have rolling around. I don't want to get sidetracked on that, but yeah, that's what made me think about that. But yeah, I mean, learning things in terms of competition is so important. I mean, that's part of your job, as an affiliate marketer, is to see what your competitors are doing, because if they're doing something and it's successful, you definitely want to pay attention to it to see how they've done it, reverse engineer it, see if there's something you can do to add more to it to one up those guys. And that's something that I do all the time. And we talked about this in the backstage, though. I'm running ads right now, and when I type in some of the search terms that I'm trying to bid for, I like to see what some of those people are selling, what their squeeze pages look like, what their copy looks like, to see any little edge that I can get to test, especially to see if it resonates with my audience. I'm going to do it, because that's what it is. It's that constant failing forward of trying something new and then adjusting and then moving forward from there. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and you hit on a good point there when you said testing. You're testing. A lot of the dangers, especially people that first come into affiliate marketing, they'll see one thing and they think that's the thing. Like that's the last thing they'll do. Yeah. Or for example, like you're talking about running ads, you may be looking at your competition and see one of their ads. You have to continually look at that and take note of that ad. And then what you're looking for is, like in the old copywriting direct response world, is the control. The one that you keep seeing is the winner.
Yeah.
Right. Because guess what? They're testing too. So you may see something that's a complete bomb, and like it may not be working for them. Yeah. Right. So you like, oh, I got to copy this. Whoa, slow your roll there, because you need to pull back and say, is that working for them? And one way you can do that, obviously, is test yourself. But then you can also pay attention to what they're doing over time to see what's working for them and see what's not working for them.
Yeah, and I do that quite often. I'll type in terms and I'll see who's ranking, and with these ad platforms, you can delve deep into who you're competing against. So I actually can see who I'm bidding against and how successful I am, and what share uh, of the ad space do I get percentage wise above my competition. And I'm ranking above some big names. And so but I like to look at that because I like to see what they're doing, and maybe what they're selling might be totally different than what I'm selling. So I always take that into consideration too, because is it something that is related to what I'm doing? If it is, then most definitely I'm going to be paying attention. You had mentioned testing and split testing. That's so key. Always be checking out the statistics for what you're doing, and tweak things little at a time, because we talk about it all the time. This is a journey, man. It's not a destination, and every day you're doing something totally different, which is why I love what we do, is because it's never a dull day, right? I mean, you may feel like, oh, I don't want to do anything today or whatever, and don't get me wrong, I feel like that too, a lot, guys. But it every day I'm learning something new about what I'm doing, and that's what kind of just keeps that energy going. So yeah, checking out your competition, excellent way for you to build your business. As part of your job, actually.
Yeah, and there's lots of tools and websites. Similar Web is the one that always jumps out at me. I mean, it's literally they're showing you things that are similar to what it is you're trying to do,
Mhm.
what you're trying to accomplish. Tons of spy tools out there,
Yeah.
that's all legit because it's all readily free information. They're just scraping the internet for you and pulling it in and putting it into a nice format so you can find it.
Yeah.
But Google, Facebook, YouTube, if you run ads, all this information is provided for you. Even if you're not running ads, even if you're doing free traffic, when you're making YouTube videos, you have insights inside of your analytics, and YouTube tells you about your competition. They literally, inside of the analytics, inside your back end dashboard, they show you the channels that your audience is watching. They
Yep.
show you the videos that are resonating with those audiences that look like your audience. They're giving you this information. You know why they're giving you that information? Because they want you to compete. They want you to create content to compete because they win. The more content you create that is more of what people want to see, they win because that is the business they're in.
Yeah.
They're in the business of having creators create content and advertisers paying to put ads on top of that content. It's all one big, what's the word I'm looking for, in like nature when you have that environment, right?
Ecosystem.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one huge ecosystem that is built. It's symbiotic. Without each other, none of it exists. Without affiliates, a lot of vendors don't exist.
Yeah.
With what I mean? So it's like don't be afraid, or don't be not afraid. Don't be wary or suspicious of other people,
Yeah.
and don't be thinking that you're doing something wrong by, and I'm going to use air quotes for the podcasters, if you're spying on your competition.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to my old corporate days, and I remember my CFO, no, my COO, Chief Operations Officer. He told me once, and I always remember this, that the pie doesn't get smaller; the pie only gets bigger. And their competition's good, obviously, but there's enough for everyone. There really is. And it's just the competition part of it I really like, just because it pushes you to be better, to learn more, to stop being complacent, because the moment you're complacent, somebody's going to step into your place and eat your lunch. So it's all about being being educated about what's happening, spotting the trends that are going on in your niche, and taking a look at your competitors. How are they positioning that product versus how you're going to be positioning? Because you and we compete against each other when there's different promotions going on, and we openly talk to each other. Hey, this is what I'm doing. Like, okay, well, that's a cool idea. I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna take this angle. And never do I feel like, oh, Gary, the professor's gonna steal my stuff, and it's like, no, because we each bring to the table something that the other doesn't have. And we resonate with our audience differently. And so don't be afraid of looking at someone else's stuff or even sharing it with other people, because I can guarantee you most people will not have the gumption, and I use that word gumption. I couldn't think of any other word, gumption, or that oomph. That's what I say, the oomph to actually do it, to execute on what your plan is. So never feel like, oh, I gotta keep this secret, because really there are no secrets. There really aren't, and I think just having that competition and us just being like, hey, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and just sharing it only helps us be better, right?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, when you're searching around and you're talking, you're going to be working with people. There's people that will blatantly steal your stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, there's just no way around it. And there, and then you get into the whole legality
Yeah.
of whether or not you own something or right intellectual property. But seriously, the truth about making money online is you got to get it out there. You got to put your message out. You got to look at what other people are doing. And in the beginning, you're looking and you're copying and modeling and saying what works, what doesn't work, and you're finding your way. You're finding your own voice. You're understanding what works, what doesn't work. Why does a group of people come to me for information versus the other people that are given the exact same information? It's the way I present. It's one specific thing that I give them. The way my voice sounds, just the way that the order I put things in, the logical flow that I use to get from point A to point B compared to my competitor, right? Who may go in the reverse direction, and it just doesn't make sense. They watch their stuff and it's like, I don't get it. Then they watch my thing and they're like, man, that makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Right. And I literally just said the same thing in a different order.
Yep. Yep.
But for sure, you can't be scared of competition, because competition is what makes the whole thing work. It goes back to that ecosystem of, everyone working together to find that common goal. In this case, the truth about making money online is getting to those big fat commissions and modeling the competition. You know what I mean? Because take this back to affiliate marketing. Go to ClickBank, look up a product, go to an affiliate page. They're giving everyone the same information. And everyone from that information is going to come up with a different angle, a different promotion, a different headline, a different, color combination, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why the pie only gets bigger, because everyone's going to come in with their own spin on it. And, in the beginning, I think a lot of people tend to just maybe fear that whole copycat thing. In that respect of like, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to kind of copy what they're doing, not to a T where they, copy all the pictures and everything and the sales copy and stuff, but, maybe copying maybe the types of bonuses that they're going to give away or any of that other stuff. But like the professor mentioned, you are finding your way. And by analyzing the competition and understanding what they're doing, you're gonna pick and choose the things that resonate with you, much like the content that we produce separately that resonates with you, which is the reason why some of you subscribe to the professor, some of you subscribe to me, maybe you subscribe to both of us. Who knows? But hopefully you guys are subscribed to the affiliate file. So if you're on the YouTube channel, click that subscribe button.
You get the best of both worlds.
You get the best of both worlds.
They got the golden arches. We got the golden arcs. They got the Big Mac. We got the Big Mick. Anybody that gets to.
But yeah, I mean, it's the whole, to me, the competition part is so vital. And it all stems back to, without competition, if you're not doing something groundbreaking, like the professor said, then you're kind of in the wrong space. You need to kind of go where there's competition, because that's what breeds, to me, innovation. That's what it causes people to step outside and be different and think of new things. And that's why I like competition.
Yeah.
Because it forces me to get outside of my comfort zone, to look at what other people are doing and say, how would I do that if it was presented to me? How would I do it differently? How can I make it better? How can I resonate? How can I take what I've just seen and make it resonate with my audience? Because I understand my audience better than I would understand someone else's audience,
Yeah.
even
So
though
I
we're
mean,
in the same pond.
if you think about that, like you said, you're in the same pond and you're just filling different gaps. You're on different edges of the pond, filling different gaps, filling different holes,
Hmm.
making sure that specifically as an affiliate. And here's an idea for you. You're an affiliate and you know that you can't compete at the beginning of a launch. And let's talk about being an affiliate and a contest and a product launch. So you're at the beginning of a contest. In that contest, they break it out and they have, the first 50 sales. Then they have a middle contest and they have an ending contest. So you step back, you're a smaller affiliate, but you have something to offer, but you look at what your competition is doing. And your competition in this case being all the other affiliates, and you look at their bonuses because you know that the bonus is going to drive the winning of this competition. So at the beginning, you know that your name and your recognition and your bonus, without really knowing what your bonus should be, is not going to win you that first level of the contest.
Hmm.
But you take the time because let's say it's a 5-7 day launch and they have an ending contest. So you wait, and I do this sometimes by looking at people's reviews, and I look and say, what are they doing in the review? What are they calling out? Right? What are they saying? What's the thing that they're actually saying that this product makes it worth the money? And then the gap. And I'm like, oh, well, that's the gap that they're filling, but they missed this gap, right? Because I went through all the content and I see their angle, but that's not really the thing that I got from it. That's not really the thing that I think is worth the money. It's this. But if I bolt on this bonus, it's going to really make it worth, the money, and it's going to add more value. But I didn't know that until I watched my competition and the way they evaluated the product and the bonus they offered. Now I have the opportunity to evaluate the competition, spy on them, air quotes, see what they're doing, and then give my audience more value by adjusting my bonus, by actually looking at my competition and saying they missed the mark for my audience by not filling this specific hole that I know my audience is going to be interested in.
Yeah, and I think that that's a really like excellent example because I mean when you and I are in promoting the same product, that I mean that's what we go through. I mean you interpret the product and the gaps differently than I would. And sometimes we agree on things, but sometimes we don't. And it's just up to your interpretation. That's the beauty of it. And the reason why I say that the pie only gets bigger because everyone's going to come up with their own bonus, their own thing that's going to fill the gap. And for some of us, we come up with one or two. Some people come up with three or four, and everything is designed based off of what they feel. What is the money? Where is the money going to be made? And how can I help you make more money? So I'm going to do this in order to do that. And the only way you do that is by analyzing your competition. I mean, that's what I do too. I mean, I'll look at what people are analyzing. I mean, I'll ask you like, hey, what are you going to do for bonuses? And we'll openly discuss what we're going to do. But I'll go ahead and I'll watch other people's videos as well because I'm on other people's email lists. And guess what? When they're warming up and they're hyping up the audience, they'll reveal what their bonus is. They'll reveal it. And that's when you can understand, like, okay, well, yeah, I kind of think that's okay, but I think that I could do a little bit more, and that's going to kind of push it over the edge. And my audience is really going to like that because I keep telling them this is what's important. This is the missing piece that they need. So yeah, the whole competition thing. I mean, I hope those of you guys out there who are watching it, don't be afraid of the competition. I know there are a lot of times where people will ask, what niche they should go in, and they always want to find one that's kind of hidden, where there's traffic, but not a whole lot of traffic and not a whole lot of competition. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just? I mean, obviously, you still want to jump right into like, dieting, right? You want to kind of narrow your focus down a little bit more, but it is possible based off of the competition and learning what they're doing, their strengths and weaknesses, for you to kind of build your own identity. And I think that's important right there. Is you're your own brand, and in this case, we're our own brand here. And I think it's important for you to kind of put your stamp on it, is what I'm saying. And but the only way that you're going to find your way is by maybe understanding what other people are doing, modeling a little bit, and then saying, okay, where's my comfort zone? Where do I feel comfortable? With in terms of what the competition is doing versus what I'm willing to do in order to one up them, in this promotion.
Yeah, of course, you don't want to jump into the top level and try to compete with the big dogs.
Yeah,
Speaking of dogs, you don't want to just say, I'm in the dog niche. You
yeah,
want to say, I'm in the vegan dog niche. No, 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 no. I'm even further than that. I'm in the vegan puppy that doesn't know he's a vegan puppy yet, blue
yeah,
heeler niche, right?
yeah,
So you want to go out and you want to understand that there's always going to be competition. People that think they're in a hidden niche, it's only hidden because they didn't know about it,
yeah,
right? It's like showing up. It's like showing up to somebody's house and being like, "Hey, check out this house I found here that nobody knows about." Well, the
yep,
people that live there know about it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And their friends and their family and the people that come there, like the postman, he knows about it. You
yep.
know, so yeah, that the competition is not something to shy away from. I think the competition is only going to make you better. To use it like a sports analogy, I know it was summer here. This is August 11th, 2022. Today, when we're filming this episode, it's going to come out, this Saturday. But here in the U.S., football starts real soon, and my son plays college football. And last year they won the state championship, so he's going in that expectations of he's got to have that. He's going up against that competition.
Hmm.
So literally, and as a 10th grader in high school football, they're looking at their competition. They're looking at what their competition is doing. Did they get another running back? Did they get another linebacker? Who left?
Yep.
Who did they add? Do they have new coaches? And they literally travel around the country and they play and they go play 7-on-7 and whatever and do drills and training with these folks because that's who they're going to be playing against. They're leveling themselves up against that competition because they know what it takes to win a state championship. So not only are all eyes on them because they're the champions, right? They have to have their eyes on everyone else that's coming after them.
Yeah.
It's the same in everything you do, going back to that Burger King and that McDonald's. If you want to come up with a McDougal's, then you have to be like, well, I got to go after, the Burger Kings and the McDonald's of the world, and you got to see what they're doing, and you got to have something that competes. Because people, it goes back to Gary Halbert said, you're not in the business of making hamburgers. You're in the business of finding a starving crowd.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's the difference in the mindset, right? I think in the beginning, most people tend to, shy away from the competition, but they don't understand that, there's going to be competition no matter what you do. You just have to figure out a way to, find that audience, that starving crowd better than your other competitors do. And I think that's just only through experience for some reason. Maybe it's perspective as you do this more and more. Is there a shift, right? I mean, I don't know if you agree with me on that, but I think like that shift happens after a certain while. Things start clicking, and you start thinking a little bit different, and you start seeing things from different perspectives. And I think that's one of them. I think that's probably a major one right there. That because people will always default to what they know, growing up. But I think when you start learning a little bit more and you're in affiliate marketing, you start thinking in terms of differently. And that's how I see what you just said, that I think people need to understand that that's a totally different way of thinking that might not make sense to some of you guys listening to it, but it's very important to understand.
Yeah, you go back to the big concepts of and leveling of marketing, and people look at like marketing and they talk about the three big niches or really markets, health, wealth, and relationships,
Mhm.
getting paid, getting laid, and living forever, right? you know, those three things, the competition is going to be fierce at the highest level. And if you don't set yourself apart, which a lot of people are like, what do you mean? I'm never going to set myself apart because those people already dominate. Of course they dominate, but you're not trying to dominate. And it goes back to another thing about 1,000 true fans. That concept of 1,000 true fans blew my mind the first time I read that. It's like, that's all you need is 1,000 people. Well, even less than that, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And it starts with one person,
Yeah.
right? There's one person that's out there that's struggling with the thing that they're doing. When you look at those top three level markets, health, wealth, and relationships, simply understanding that the pet niche is about relationships, right? When you get to the point where you're like, who am I competing against? I'm competing against people that understand these things,
Mhm.
that understand that, a dog is different than a cat.
Mhm.
Having a fish is different than having a bird.
Yep.
right? What are different about those things? It's all pets, right? Absolutely not. Those are all different audiences. Those are all different niches inside of niches, the sub niches inside that same market of relationships of people that are, having those pets and those relationships with those pets for whatever reason they're doing it for. We talked about backstage, or it might have been, I think it was backstage, about people, doing social media and wrapping their life around, their business, or their business wrapping around their life and that whole experience. And like when they lose a pet, and like how it like impacts, their brand and their message and like all these things. It's like that level is the level you're talking about when you're looking at your competition. Everything that they're doing, their message, holistically in that ecosystem of the niche that they're in, how those relationships work together.
Yeah, and and I think we talked about that in backstage. Yeah, it was. I think to me the whole competition thing. Again, you can learn a lot from it, um, just by studying. And if you're starting off, don't be intimidated by it. Look at it as an opportunity, as a resource. Like I look at competition as a resource for me, because you're never gonna know everything, and neither does your competition. But if they know a little bit more than you can turn that into a learning experience and gain from their experiences, their mistakes that they're making, and start learning from that, and start applying it to your business. So never feel like you always have to be kind of guarded and things like that. There's no secrets out there anymore. There aren't any secrets. People are just finding different ways to do something that's always been done, but they do it a little bit differently, with a different flair, different angle, different approach to it. And I think you gotta take it as, this is an education. You're learning something every time your competition puts out a new product or promotion or whatever they're doing, a bonus. Take a look at it, see what they're doing, see how they approach it, see the mentality that they use to come up with that, because that's only going to help you accelerate your learning. And I think that's, for me, that's important. Like in the beginning, I used to be afraid of that, the competition. I was like, oh, I don't want them to know anything about what I'm doing. But now I'm like, if you want to look at it, go ahead and look at it, because number one, your voice is not the same as my voice. Your design skills, whatever it is that you're bringing to the table, is going to be totally different than what I do. And quite frankly, what I've learned over these last, going on almost 4 years, is that not everyone takes action. So it doesn't even matter if they spy the people sign up for these spy tools all the time, but do they utilize that information to their advantage, or are they just consuming it thinking, oh, this is great? Because I know I get caught up in that sometimes, where I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like I just looked at this ad, I broke it down. This is awesome. But do I do anything about it? Right.
Exactly.
I mean,
and we talk about relationships on the channel too, with relationships with you and your audience, but also the relationship with you and the vendor, also relationships with you and your direct competition, the other affiliates. Don't be afraid to reach out to them and openly ask questions or offer, like, hey, I saw your promotion. What would have been cool if you'd have done this, right? Or you could have added this angle,
Yeah.
or guess what? People make mistakes too. Like, hey, I noticed your link's not working. I noticed, right, that something happened with this, right? Or the message that you were getting across didn't really hit the mark, right? I didn't really understand why your bonus was going to help me with this product. Now a lot of that, if you're looking at straight up cold outreach, you got to learn how to be, diplomatic or whatever, like how to approach people, right? Don't just be like, hey bro, I saw your affiliate promo and it sucks. Right? You got to work that in, but don't be afraid of the competition. Look at your competition, spy on your competition, but also don't be afraid to befriend your competition.
What's that saying? What's the saying? Yeah, hold your
enemies.
Yeah, even though they're not your enemies, but your competitors. I mean, you can use the same thing, right?
Yeah, keep your enemies close and your friends close and your enemies closer.
Yeah, there you go. But keep your competitors close.
Yeah, I think that's it, right? Keep them close, because the pie gets bigger, like Ken always says, and the pie is going to get bigger for you as an affiliate if you come together and you work. You know what I mean? Like you could even come together and be affiliates together and team up and
Yeah.
dominate a leaderboard or something like that. You
Yeah.
know, and that all started because you were looking at what your competition was doing, you were respecting your competition, but you were also able to reach out to them and start an open dialogue about being competitive and saying, you know what, we could be more competitive if we teamed up.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for example, the affiliate files wouldn't even exist unless me and Ken talked to each other, like Ken was talking about, where we openly just exchanged ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. So you never know where it's going to take you. Never. It's always evolving.
That's it. And with that, you got anything else, Ken?
Nope.
All right. He's Ken Furukawa. I'm Gary Baker, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.